Today I want to share a little bit about the fine balance between supporting others in this journey and becoming a spiritual know-it-all. And this is I don't want to say a path, but it's kind of a story along the path, if you will, in this spiritual awakening. So what I've found in my own personal journey, and it's the only one I can speak about in this story of Kelly, is that we seem to come to this place of realization. I speak often about the difference between knowing and pure awareness. And what I mean by this is we can have an intellectual understanding of a spiritual thing. The no self, the unraveling, seeing through the illusions. There's so many of them. And we can have an understanding from reading about it, and even hearing others speak about it. We may have little mini glimpses of it appear in our path. But there's definitely a difference between the glimpse and the experience of it. And it doesn't belong to anyone. And so this is by no means putting anyone down. This is sharing what I've done on the journey, what I've seen myself go through on the journey. We seem to see others around us who appear to be still struggling. And they may even be asking for support. They may even be saying things like, you seem to be happier. You seem to be able to have healthy boundaries in your life. You seem to gravitate towards people who are loving to you. Show me how to do that. That may be one scenario. And another scenario may be that no one asks us at all and we just approach with unsolicited advice. So I'm speaking today mainly about that second path, the unsolicited advice. What I've seen and what I've experienced myself after this unfolding was this wanting others to have the same level of freedom and the same release of pain and suffering, if you will. And so wanting to help them get there. And, immediately after my experience, I found myself gravitating towards groups of people that would talk about this unraveling, seeing through the self, non-duality, whatever you want to refer to it as. There was an interest to be around those people, to gravitate to those groups, to communicate in those organizations, and to align with people there. And there may have even been some banter about it. And that's all fallen away now for me. And again, this is not comparing myself to anyone else. It's talking about where I am in my own unique journey. What I found for myself specifically is that the unraveling appears much more proficient if I am mindful in my own space. As soon as I gravitate towards leaning into others, I feel stalled. Now, of course, that's just another story, so don't get hung up on that either. But what I find is that the mind construct is just a computer. And so you put a program in and it spits out results. So if I'm putting a program in, it's focused on those results. It's pretty straightforward. So if the program is help them, what are the results? The egoic mind is off in someone else's business and it has nothing to do with me. Now, if I use that same example, other's business, inserting self, whose business is it? Who is it about? Whose story is it? Why is it appearing? It's here for me to see. It's here for me to see. It doesn't mean I need to engage, right? So the story may be coming up. They're suffering. They need me. They're really struggling here, and I feel like I have some words that'll help them. Insert self. Immediately the shift or apparent shift goes from unraveling for the version of Kelly to the helping them get out of suffering. And I spoke about this on Facebook last week. We really never want to make another person feel better. We want them to feel better so we don't have to feel icky around them. We don't want them to be in an icky space because it doesn't feel good to us. And we're conditioned to do this from a young age. Sally starts crying because Timmy kicked her out of the sandbox, and Bethany needs to run up and console. Go take care of your friend. She's hurting, right? So we're taught this at a very young age. Again, there's nothing wrong or right in any of this. So this is not my intent to say don't do this and do that. It's a sharing. It's a sharing of the story of Kelly and what I found. And what I see to be really relevant for me in this is that those longer periods of being with myself and just watching the experiences, check to see if there's a reaction to it, check to see if there's something there for me to unravel. Nope, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Keep moving, keep just looking at the periphery of the water. You know, I always like to have analogies to things like this. And last summer, well, really every summer, my son likes me to take him to this pretty big water park here in Seattle called Wild Waves. And it is chaos. The place is pure chaos. They have all these water rides and all these pool areas with kids just running everywhere. And there's hundreds of lifeguards. And there's this exercise that the lifeguards do when one is going off shift and another is coming on. They extend their hand out and they take their head and they bob along the water, you know, segment by segment, and they come back and bob along the water. And they do this several times. And then once they feel that it's clear, they do a release to the new lifeguard. So one day I finally asked one of the young lifeguards, what's that all about? Like, I don't understand that thing that's happening. And it seems like all of you do it when you do a shift. And the one young lad said to me, when you stare at a specific pool long enough, the mind may not capture that there's someone underwater needing help. You've seen it so much, you've stared at it for so long, that even though someone may be struggling right there beneath you, you're not really conceptualizing it. Of course, he used teenage language to describe it, and I'm using my own language, but that was the gist of it. And it reminded me of the scene in What the Bleep Do We Know, where the Indians were standing on the beach, and I think it was Marco Polo's big ship pulled in, and none of them could even rationalize that that was a thing because they had never seen anything like it. The brain and the mind just couldn't conceptualize it. Why am I pointing to these analogies? I think I point to them because the mind is a computer. It needs something to work on. And the work, even though it feels like we don't have a choice, and I know we don't have a choice, it appears there's this apparent opening, and I speak about this a lot. There's this little opening or sliver of opportunity to either become the witness or the doer. And we tend to, based on conditioning, go right to the doership. Help them find this way, help them get relief, help them be happy. And then there's this other opportunity or apparent opportunity, sliver of opening that says, see if this is for me. See if this is for me to look at. See if this is for me to inquire on. See if this is for me to delve into. And 9 times out of 10, it's a no, or it's a defense or a reaction in the body that we can simply inquire on and it lets go. Never once do we need to inject ourselves. And I say this because I flittered around Facebook in groups and in all kinds of organizations, and I immersed myself in those conversations, and there's no interest anymore. And it feels like this is where the resistance is let go completely. Not completely. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying there's not resistance is still rising. I'm just saying this is where the resistance is let go completely around join, not join, engage, not engage. Certainly in the work that I do in one-on-one sessions, that may come up still, but there's a different platform for that. It's a different experience. It's a mirror seeing itself and an opportunity to engage at that. And so it's an optimal one-on-one kind of relationship versus this bobbing and bouncing and ping-ponging around this group, that group, this teacher, that teacher, this satsang, that satsang, none of which is wrong. There is nothing here saying that that's wrong. Again, sharing from this story of Kelly. So I just wanted to record a little bit on that today. Can you see I just poked myself in the eye? If you're wondering why my eye is so red, I just literally poked myself in the eye with a pen. That felt lovely. Anyway, I hope you have a good day. Until next time, much love.